Hi, this is Tim with SmallScaleRC.com, and today we are going to do a really, I would say, low-level, easy upgrade for the Carisma GT24T. This upgrade is going to be putting some stiffer springs on this model. I love this machine. It's great for indoors. It's great for outdoors as well. But one thing, and you can see it here, one thing I've noticed is the springs are very, very soft, and this vehicle really has a tendency to bounce. And it's almost a little too bouncy if you take it outside and outdoors. It's got quite a bit of jiggle to it. So I picked up these hard springs, and again, these are for the friction shocks that come with it. I'm not going to go oil shock on these. I want to keep my upgrade cost low. So I did pick up a complete set. 4 springs. These are the hard springs. Now I've already made this suspension change on my GT24B buggy, and I've noticed a huge difference, especially when it comes to driving it on carpet. To use a racing term, specifically a NASCAR racing term, the vehicle tends to push a lot more, whereas with the softer springs, you could get a little tail happy with it. Now, to be fair, I've pretty much burned off all the tread on the buggy tires, so they're pretty bald, and they're basically racing slicks at this point. But it's a little pushy. Taking it outside, I did notice that it performed better and it didn't bounce around as much. Now, the Monster Truck has a little more suspension travel than the buggy, and hopefully you can see. I'll get my hand out of the way here. We'll do a little drop test. There's quite a bit of bounce when you drop this. Okay, now if you're outside and you're on concrete and you're going over little bumps, and let's say you're in a driveway and you're going to have seams and whatnot, you're going to be running over the stuff. My driveway, plenty of seams, plenty of little bumps, plenty of mulch and other yard debris that kind of blows into the driveway. This thing's just hopping all over the place. Now I'm exaggerating, but you get the idea. It's hard to keep control of a vehicle when it's bouncing all over the place. So I'm hoping that this spring adjustment and spring upgrade will help me in that regard. Now, I think I've talked far enough, or well enough. Let's go and start pulling these springs off. We're going to take all 4 springs off of this model and replace them with the stiffer set. So first things first, we need to take the body off. Again, body is held on by Velcro. Nice little setup there. So the only tools you're really going to need for this are a set of small Phillips head screwdrivers. These are Phillips head hardware throughout the Carisma GT24T, B, and I'm guessing R and Truggy. So you're going to need some small little Phillips head screwdrivers. There are different sizes on these heads. The tops, I believe, are a little larger than the bottoms. So you're either going to need multiple screwdrivers, or, as I've got in my case, a removable tip, and I can swap those out with another head that's in my set. So that's enough talking. Let's start removing these shocks and getting our upgrade taken care of. So first things first, remove one of the shock towers. So the top mounts loose, working on the bottoms. Now make sure you don't lose your hardware. You are going to need those. And I did forget one more tool you're going to need. So you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, and a needle nose pliers is going to come in handy as well. So now we're going to come around, and we're going to loosen this up and take that off completely. Now for comparison, before we put the new spring on, this is the new one, the hard one, and this is the original. You can see that the new spring is a little bit beefier. It's got a little gold tinge to it. So if you happen to lose track of these and they go rolling across your workbench, look for the gold one. But much more stiff on the gold as opposed to the stock. We're going to slide the new spring over the shock, tip it upside down. And now is the fun part. Gripping back. Try not to lose our grip and shoot this across the room. We're going to twist on our lower mount again and just turn it until it's snugged up. The nice thing about not having oil shocks is you don't have to mess around with the oil and getting the right amount in and doing all that, so that it saves you a step in that regard. But then you're also losing out on some adjustability as well. But honestly, with a vehicle this small, I don't think you need to have that much adjustability unless you're competitively, racing these things somewhere. So I've got 2 down. I'm going to take care of the other 2, get everything mounted up, and then we'll do a drop test and just see how our overall bounce performance has changed with these new shocks. Okay, so real quick, here's our front and here's our rear. We just replaced the front springs with the new stiffer, harder spring, and the rear still has the stock softer springs on there. We're just going to do a real quick drop test, try to hold this as level as we can, just so you can see what kind of a difference these new hard springs actually make. Drop it again. See that? That back is just hopping around like a frog, and then when it comes down, it's still kind of, it takes a while to get all the bounce out of it. So I think this is going to make a huge difference, especially driving this thing outside and over obstacles. So let's get the rear end taken care of. We'll do a couple more drop tests and we'll be all ready to roll. Okay, we've got all of our shocks reassembled, reattached, back on the GT24T. And let's give it a little drop test, see how it looks. Still a little bit of bounce, but nowhere near the amount that we had with those stock springs. And I can tell just by putting my hand on here and pushing down, it takes a lot more pressure to push this truck down with these harder springs. So I think it's a very worthwhile upgrade for this model. Of course, now you might be wondering, how much do these springs cost? Well, I bought them for $1.99 on Amazon for 2 springs, so altogether about $8 to get 2 vehicles done. Just a couple words, getting the rear shocks off was easy enough. Getting them back on, a little bit more difficult. You may want to take the wheels off. I didn't do that. I tried to save some time. Ended up getting bit in the end. Dropped some hardware on the floor, swore a little bit, but all in all, we got everything back together. Again, tool-wise, you're going to need at least 2 different sizes of small Phillips head screwdrivers and a needle nose pliers to help you get the shocks apart. Outside of that, I would definitely look at this spring upgrade if you were wanting to get a little more handling performance out of your Carisma GT24 model. So, there you have it, a hard spring upgrade for the Carisma GT24T Monster Truck. With that, my name is Tim. Thank you for checking out this video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not yet subscribed to the RC Noob YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that. I would greatly appreciate that. We will have more on this vehicle. We'll get it out, we'll get it running, we'll see what it looks like with these new springs. So that should be fun. I'm looking forward to doing that. We'll send it off some jumps, we'll rip it around in a parking lot, in a driveway, and wherever else we can find to drive it. And much more content coming your way on other small-scale vehicles as well. So be sure to check out smallscalerc.com for the latest news, reviews, and videos on everything small-scale RC. With that, my name is Tim. Thank you very much for watching. We will talk with you guys later.